Let's ride. The big issue with the Edmonton Oilers tonight will be them missing their captain and their leader, Connor McDavid. But it's not going to be the only issue, I think. Hello and welcome to Oilers Nation's Pre-Gaming with BORDZY, presented by Sherwood Ford, live from the Sports Closet studio, where the first YouTube comment of the day is from Pissy Leon. And he said, "Don't worry, guys, I got this." Well, Leon, I think you're going to have to put this entire city and the entire team on your back tonight.
For at least two games. At
least two. Hey, we'll get into that. We'll get into that in a minute. As you heard the voice, you see the face. I am joined by the man who is normally in this chair. He's in the comfy couch today. Tyler Yaremchuk. Tyler, how are we doing? I see you're already sweating out a couple bets.
Yeah, hoping for a Leafs puck line cover here. A couple other things going on. I love this whole hockey starting at 4, 16 games, new game every 15 minutes. It's mayhem.
Yeah, it is pretty chaotic. I'm a big fan of it. I know we'll get into it in just a bit. I know there's been a lot of hubbub about the scheduling. That's a word I don't think I've said in a really long time. There's been a lot of drama about the scheduling. I'm not that concerned because it's here. And it's almost game time, and it feels good. So I'm just seeing a couple people here in the chat. Shout out to Kyle, who said he had to get it in there. Hashtag Bordsy Bros. Bordsy Bros. I'm sure my brother will be in the chat shortly. You can talk to him in there. But the big topic tonight, it's the Connor McDavid injury. Yep. And I know we've talked about this for a bit. I know how my friend Liam feels about this, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I'm looking at the panic button. I haven't pulled it out yet, but if the Edmonton Oilers were to start the season 1-4-1, that would be a pretty abysmal start. I didn't have this in my worst nightmares. I might pull out the button, but that's not going to happen tonight, right, Tyler?
I mean, it's tough to say. This is a matchup the Oilers have traditionally struggled with in a building where the Oilers have traditionally struggled. I think you need to win one of the next two. If you do that, I think the panic button stays away. I think you need to win 2 of the next 3. If you don't do that, then it might be time to bring out the old panic alarm button. But I don't know. Tonight, it's just such a tough matchup. Like, Minnesota's gotten off to a bit of a rocky start, but they're going to be highly motivated. They're on home ice. You're missing Connor McDavid. You're on the road. Like, I could see / understand them losing tonight, but what I wouldn't want to see is them showing up flat.
Yeah, exactly. That would be the big worry. I think everybody knows the magnifying glass is out on a select few players on the Edmonton Oilers roster. And on a night like tonight, everybody, I think, in North America should be watching hockey, as there's a ton of games going on. I see some people in here. Ryan said, "Let's freaking go. Keep the faith. It's cup year, yo." I love it. I love it. Don't ever stop. Don't ever lose that attitude. We are the best here. The #1 fan says the struggle ends tonight. Magic Meat Bag, you know, my favorite name, in the chat, said should be a good test of the team. So, Tyler, there's going to be 3 games this week with the Heritage Classic coming on Sunday, which we will announce more on Thursday here what the schedule for pre-gaming and After Dark will be. Yeah. To be honest with you, I don't really even know right now, but we're going to figure it out. You will be getting your content. You will be getting your shows.
We're doing some fun stuff, hopefully with Greta on Sunday. Hopefully it's a bit of a meetup spot for people before the Heritage Classic, and then you can head down. So it should be fun.
But speaking of the 3 games, I think we've kind of both given up hope for Connor McDavid to play on tonight and Thursday.
Yes.
But there's 3 games. I'm not giving up hope that Connor will play on Sunday. And I'm pretty sure the NHL feels the exact same way, as they still have yet to sell out all of their tickets. So I think you got to dangle that carrot in front of Oilers and Calgary fans, right?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, honestly, I can't believe this thing's not sold out.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people are maybe just waiting until closer to the weekend and they're going to grab their tickets last minute. A big thing here, though, is price, right? Like, if you go on Ticketmaster right now, you're not getting in there for less than $120, I think. And you're sitting row 70 in the upper bowl. Like, come on, NHL. I think they could have done a better job making some of the nosebleeds tickets more affordable, more accessible. I get
and
it.
Those are the real fans.
Yeah, but like, you're there to make money. I totally understand that. You want to charge a premium for a premium event, but you can charge $500-600 for the lower bowl ones. People will pay that price. Diehard Oilers fans will pay that price. You could have made this more accessible for fans who can't afford to dish out $1,200 on a pair of tickets, or even right now, close to $400 on a pair of tickets. they should have marked the prices down. And now they're in this awkward spot where, like, if they do that, then people who bought tickets early are going to be pissed, right? Like, you're in an impossible spot. It's entirely your own doing, though, if you're the NHL.
Yeah, it kind of seems that shitting on the NHL has been a little bit of a theme lately. Our boy Liam was digging into him every day for the last 2 weeks, especially today. He, in fact, just left a couple minutes ago. He was still fired up about the scheduling. But I guess a question I have for you for the Heritage Classic: is it better to sit in the lower bowl or the upper bowl for viewing wise?
It's a good question.
I've never been to an outdoor game.
I think, and granted, I wasn't at the first outdoor game, but I think because the rink is so far away in center that you should be able to see kind of from no matter where you sit. Like, I'm just envisioning like watching a football game at Commonwealth, and like you usually have pretty good line of sight. Also, and I was talking to some people about this, I was like, just like pay the $130, get in the door, go be a part of the atmosphere, right? And they're like, oh, but like you're barely gonna see it. And I was like, no matter where you sit, you're not going to an outdoor game to get like a good vantage of the ice and be like, really want to buckle down and watch this one.
There, and
you're going there to an extent to say you went there and to be a part of the action, right?
Yeah, I see people in here. Lance says, I bought tickets. They are still stupid expensive.
Yeah.
Kurt Blank said, Connor comes into the Heritage Classic WWE style in the middle of the game. But watch out, watch out, watch out. That would be an RKO out of nowhere from Connor McDavid. I'll take that. I know we were talking earlier today about the hope of the visual of seeing Connor McDavid taking warm-ups out there in that awesome jersey right there. I'm holding out hope. I hope all of you are too. In the chat, I'm just catching up here. I will always support crapping on the NHL wall, says Rusty. Yeah, I think it's kind of a popular opinion right now. One Mark said 1-2 section G row 14 tickets in the 50-50. That's pretty sick. That's pretty sweet.
Not bad.
Nova said all capitals. Tyler, I took your 16-game parlay. How's that doing?
Well, the Leafs are going to win, so that's leg one. The over is trending okay in Buffalo. Or no, I think I took Buffalo to win in that one. So yeah, I think I'm doing okay.
There you go, Nova. You might become a rich man or woman. I can't really tell what you are from your little picture right there. I see Rusty. Hey, Rusty, this is something I've said on the show before. It's just a Nickelback concert with a hockey game around it, right?
Hey, there's some people who are just going to want to go for that.
Dude, I love Nickelback. They are the best. There's so many things. Hey, if you don't have Connor McDavid, at least you have Chad Kruger, right?
Yeah, there you go.
See?
I would also love the idea of them just playing Burn It to the Ground while McDavid skates out.
That's the watch out, watch out, watch out music.
Yeah.
That's what goes behind it. But getting more focused in on our Edmonton Oilers matchup tonight, the Minnesota Wild. We're in Minnesota tonight. And I don't know, I found this kind of funny that the Wild, they currently have $14 million in dead cap space due to old contracts that were bought out. And without Connor McDavid, I guess you could say we are also down $12.5 million in cap space for us. Now, that sounds like a pretty even matchup to me. Correct, Tyler?
Yeah, I mean, I think
salary-wise,
the better way to look at it is that both these teams are really banged up, right? Yeah. Edmonton, not missing a lot of bodies, but the guy they're missing, relatively important. Minnesota is missing a few very, very important pieces. Jared Spurgeon is without a doubt their number one defenseman. He's not going to play tonight.
Boy.
Yeah, local boy hasn't played yet this year. Up front, they don't have Matt Boldy. Matt Boldy is their most productive centerman. Like, I like Ryan Armour. Maybe that's a bit of shade at Joel Eriksson-Ek, but they gave Matt Boldy a $7 million deal over the summer because they think this guy's a superstar. And I think he's close to being that guy, even if maybe a lot of casual fans haven't heard of him. So you're missing Boldy, you're missing Spurgeon, you're missing a couple of depth guys in Goligoski and Mason Shaw. This is not Minnesota at 100% right now. So a matchup that, again, I'm not sitting here saying the Oilers are totally screwed without McDavid because key injuries on the other side as well.
Yep, exactly. And we will get into the Minnesota lineup in just a bit. We've got, what do we still got? 15 minutes before puck drop. Man, I love Frozen Frenzy Night. The vibes are going.
A lot of hockey.
I did have this thought earlier, though. I said, watch this be the best game of the season for the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers love to not make sense. So I could absolutely just see the boys all stepping up, delivering a great game, bunch of saves. I don't know why I feel that way, but as a lifelong Edmonton Oilers fan, do you feel the same?
Yeah, man, that's kind of the way it goes here, right? Like, I mean, 6 days ago or 5 days ago, we were getting ready for that game against Philly, and it's like they aren't as skilled as you. The Oilers should be flying high after the game against Nashville. And what happens? The Oilers come out and totally lay an egg. Flash forward to today, Minnesota. They should be a very hungry team on home ice. Edmonton has no McDavid. You would understand if they lose this game, it would totally be an Oilers thing to do, to just come out, lay the boots to Minnesota and win like 5-2, 5-1.
Yep, it sure would be. And it'd probably look pretty good on that Frozen Frenzy. I haven't actually watched any of the John Buccigross stuff. So let me know in the chat. Is it cool? I think I saw one earlier in here that they said this is actually pretty sweet. Let me know how you guys feel about it. I'm a guy who spends his entire Sunday built around Red Zone. So I am all in favor of that. But I am just excited to sit back tonight, kick your feet up, watch some hockey all night long. The NBA season starts tonight. It's the Denver Nuggets versus the LA Lakers and the Phoenix Suns versus the Warriors.
Thursday is also going to be one of the rare sports equinoxes potentially. Is the World Series starting then? Or maybe we're going to have to wait till Sunday. Might be Sunday when they finally get the World Series going. But either way, sports equinox coming. October
is like arguably my favorite time of the year. We close the windows here so I can't see outside. So I'm just living in sports paradise tonight, baby. I wanted to point this out too. There's something I do before all these shows to kind of prep. It's a new thing for me. I'm a big Reddit guy. I don't know if you guys are too. Let me know in the chat. But I tend to go to the other teams like hockey community on Reddit. So I went down to the Minnesota Wild one today to just kind of, get a look at their team from their fans' perspective. What do they think about the Oilers? And the two things that I came away with is one, everybody hates Evander Kane. My God, the things they were saying about him. Go check it out if you need to. And B, now it's not much of a stat, but it's a cherry pick stat from them. They said Jack Campbell has never beat the Minnesota Wild. He is 0-3-1 in his career. It's only 4 games, but that's what they're hanging their hats on tonight. So I'm expecting Jackie Boy to show up and hopefully Evander Kane too.
Hopefully Jack Campbell can show up for the Oilers. In 4 career games against the Minnesota Wild, Jack Campbell is 0-3-1, a 298 goals against average, though, so not too bad. 897 save percentage. On Oilersnation Radio today, we were talking about who's going to step up with McDavid out. And obviously, Leon Draisaitl is a popular answer to that question, right? Second best player on the team. See this, off to a very good start this season from a production standpoint. Traditionally against the Minnesota Wild, he's actually been pretty good. 9 points in his last 9 games against Minnesota. Very obvious answer here. Yep. He has a chance to kind of show the league that, hey, I'm not just I'm not Robin to McDavid's Batman. I can go be a legit play driver. But I think it's actually more of a
Superman to me.
Yeah. I think goaltending's just as important. If there's ever going to be a run where you want Campbell, or maybe it's even Skinner, to go and give you 3 straight lights out starts and have a heater, have a 930 save percentage for a week, this is it. Because you're probably not going to be able to rely on your offense to get you 5-6 goals in any of these games when McDavid's out. You're going to have to win them 3-1, 4-2, 4-1, whatever it is. If your goaltending comes through, that just makes your life so much easier for the next week when Connor's out.
Yep, it sure does. And that leads me into the Sherwood Ford Giant storyline of the evening. How do the Edmonton Oilers respond without their leader, Connor McDavid? So 5 games into the season, I think it's pretty fair to say the details have been lacking for the Edmonton Oilers. They have been taking dumb penalties, blowing leads, and they can't score in the third period. Mm-hmm. That's a recipe for disaster, if you ask me. So how do you adjust as a team to improve on that without Connor McDavid? That's going to be a big test for me. So we started the season with massive expectations, Stanley Cup aspirations, and quickly everyone in the city has leaned forward in their seat a little bit. I call it shell stance because when I played shell, for me to properly play better, I have to be leaned forward like that. But if you look around the Western Conference at teams we thought would be comparable to the Edmonton Oilers, Vegas 6-0, Colorado 5-0, Dallas 3-0-1, I believe. While the Oilers sit at 1-3-1 and now face life without their leader and overall best player. So this kind of leads into what you were just saying about Leon Draisaitl is my storyline. Yep. I don't want to put this all on the shoulders of one person. We do that enough as is, and he's out of the lineup right now. But I do think this is a massive test for Leon Draisaitl. This is his time. It's his opportunity to kind of take the reins of this team and show why he is regarded as one of the best players in the world and not just a power play merchant to Connor McDavid. For me, it's the comparisons to Austin Matthews. They were always going to be there. And I'm curious myself at this time to see how our German sniper will handle himself all on his own. I don't want to say all on his own. He's going to be riding with some other big dogs. But it's all about Leon for me tonight. Tyler, what's your Sherwood Ford Giant storyline?
Mine's actually just going to be the rest of the forward group. Like, again, not every team has a Connor McDavid. Not every team has Leon Draisaitl. They find ways to win hockey games, right? Like this is an Oilers team that we talked and we're really excited about.
We're so spoiled.
The depth. We're excited about the depth pieces coming into this year. And we've seen this team in the past. I made reference earlier today on Owen Everyday to the game against Pittsburgh last year. And, McDavid went down the tunnel. Something flipped. That team played their best hockey of the game, pulled off a comeback after being down 3-1, won the game. And I look at what, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins said this to Jason Gregor earlier in the week. He said, McDavid's okay in spirits. We'll pick up the pieces for him no matter who's in the lineup. The individual plays here and there have cost us early in the season. We will need to get better for it. And without him, it's more important to clean up those mistakes. I think it's a little bit of like everyone in the room's got to kind of sit up straight, get into their chill stance, right? And just be like, okay, Connor's not here. We all need to be 5% better if we want to compete here, if we want to be able to win. And I think it could actually be a little bit of like a galvanizing thing for the team, like definitely a bit of a rallying point. Like, hey, everyone thinks we're dead in the water with 97 not in the lineup. Let's go show them that we are not a bunch of scrubs. We're capable of winning hockey games. It should be a rallying point.
I used to say this all the time, and I guess I still do. There's no, for me, bigger motivator than fear. That was honestly the reason I used to do my homework in math class, because they knew the teacher was going to call on every one of you for one question, but you don't know which one. And that fear motivated me to do my stuff. I hope that the boys all have a little bit of fear in them right now, and that's going to be the kick in the ass they need. Also, as normal, we are joined by producer Patrick Puff behind the desk. Pat, do you have a Sherwood Ford Giant storyline for me and the folks this evening?
Yeah, I think my storyline for today, were you at all surprised when Connor Brown didn't get the nod for the first line this morning? Or
no, not really, to be honest. I was surprised it was Yaremchuk, but I don't know.
I'll be a little bit surprised and I think that's a good point, because look at what they did with Evander Kane. Evander Kane comes out, says the stuff he does during the game. He gets thrown right back up there. It almost feels like Jay Woodcroft's going with a little bit of like a blank slate approach, where it's like, hey, you've been bad, but with Connor out, everyone needs a good hard reset here. Yeah. So I think Brown maybe could have gotten that opportunity if Kane's getting it as well.
It just seems like we brought him in to be that guy, and we talk about depth, and then when we talk about depth, sometimes we go to the third and fourth line, but we're going to need guys like Brown and Kane, don't get me wrong, that were brought in for this reason to step up when McDavid's out, and understandably, he hasn't necessarily deserved it, but I would like to see him maybe play a good game today and potentially get a look at it maybe later on in the game, depending on how it's going, or maybe in a couple of games from now. But I think I mentioned it a couple of games ago that it's time for him to step up, but today it really is time for him to step up, I think.
Yeah, it just goes back. Like, I think part of the reason, we'll talk about the lines in a second, part of the reason Jay Woodcroft did what he did is because he's recognizing, hey, we can't be a one-line team tonight. We need 3 lines going, right? I know it's only 11 forwards, so there isn't a 4th line, but they need all 3 of those lines really humming for the next week.
Yep, so that's a great lead into our lineup report presented by Sherwood Ford the Giant, Dealer Raters 2023 Dealer of the Year, and Consumer Satisfaction Award winner. They've got it all. They've got everything. Tyler, today you pointed out that you can start your car from the app. Well, I'm a regular Joe, and I don't have that ability. And in fact, my keys weren't charged this morning, and I couldn't actually start my own car. Very first world problems, but you're not going to have those problems if you drive with Sherwood Ford, the Giant.
I'll be at the end of the show. I'll give you a little demonstration for how it works, because I want the Nation truck nice and warm when I get out there.
So, Patty, let's bring it up on the screen here. The big story tonight is the Oilers rocking 11-7, not really by choice, but by necessity. So we see the top line there of Evander Kane, Leon Draisaitl. And the big headline this evening, this bothers me, the Daily Faceoff still hasn't changed to 26.
We got to get on that. You'd think if anyone, we'd have some pull.
You think it'd be us. We could probably get that done. A second line of Warren Fogle, RNH, and Zach Hyman. I love that line. That's probably going to be I would think our most consistent one. Third line, Dills, as everybody in the chat is back up there with Ryan McLeod and Connor Brown. Fourth line, I guess, of just extra skaters, Adam Ernie and Derek Ryan. I say it every game. No, Philip Broberg is not on the wings this evening. D pairings as usual. Matthias Ekholm with Boosh. Darnell Nurse with Cody Ceci. And Brett Kulak with Vinny Desharnais. Tyler, can you actually hand me that picture right there?
Oh, you want your picture?
I don't know if I don't think I've been able to show this out to anybody. You can't really see it here, but I got myself a signed Brett Kulak photo that says
It's
to
your
Aaron.
Most prized possession.
It is my most prized possession. I am Brett Kulak's #1 fan. I am the fanboy. But What do we expect to see from the Oilers tonight, Tyler? Let's start with the first line. The big news, Matthias Janmark, Evander Kane. I don't think many people had Janmark being on the top line in game number 6 of the season, but we didn't see a lot of things coming our way this year. How do you feel about that trio right there?
I think
it's more about the second line for you. I know that.
Yeah. So like, I think the reason why Woodcroft's doing this is, listen, we know Ryan McLeod, Connor Brown, and Dylan Holloway work well together. They've played 18, 20 minutes so far this season at 5-on-5. They haven't given up a goal. They haven't scored a goal, but they've outshot the other team and they haven't gotten scored on. Okay, that tells me right there, Jay Woodcroft can trust them. You look at the second line, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Zach Hyman, Warren Foegele. That line outscored the opposition 2-0 against the Nashville Predators. Hasn't been on the ice for a goal against. Have played a bit of time together at 5-on-5. Jay Woodcroft can trust them. So then you sit there and you go, okay, if you want to build a middle six that you can really trust, those are your guys. Leon Draisaitl, you're kind of hoping can carry around, to put it bluntly, a little bit of dead weight.
Yep.
Evander Kane's not playing great hockey. He's not like dead weight. Matthias Janmark is playing okay hockey, but he's just not a great player. You're hoping Draisaitl can carry them. You can trust your middle six to probably do a little bit of the heavy lifting.
Drive the play.
And I honestly think we'll see a lot of Leon Draisaitl starting in the offensive zone tonight. I think you'll see Nuge and McLeod get a lot of the D zone starts, potentially even some heavy assignments with the Oilers on the road. And you'll see Leon Draisaitl get offensive zone starts. And it'll be like, okay, you guys just try score. We'll let the middle six worry about defending and all of that. This line just needs to score for Jay Woodcroft, and hopefully the rest of the lineup can kind of take care of itself.
Nice. No defense. That's right up Evander Kane's alley. Let's go, baby. Let's get some goals tonight. I did have written down here that I do think dry, and I wrote the word drag this line forward.
If Evander
you lead
Kane
from the
can,
front. You lead from the front.
If he can score twice, I don't care what he does in the defensive zone. If he scores twice tonight, I'm happy.
Yeah. Now, I had this point as well earlier when we were discussing pre-show about Leon Draisaitl. And I said, as Leon, as the leader of this team right now, I want to see Dry lead in all aspects of the game tonight. And that, for me, it starts defensively in our own zone. I know Leon Draisaitl is not known for his defensive prowess, his great play in the D end, or really lack of caring sometimes. But tonight would be a good place to start. As I said, you got to lead from the front. And I think if you see your stud, your number one guy out there, taking it seriously in the defensive end, the trickle-down effect, just like anything, just like any sports team, even down to kids. If your best player is competing hard on the defensive end, everybody else has no choice but to compete, correct?
I think, do you remember that Game 7 against the LA Kings? Obviously, you remember it, but that moment early on when McDavid goes and just steamrolls Sean Durzi, right? Instantly brings the rest of the team into the fight. Tonight. Like, if you're Draisaitl, I'm not saying you need to go like murder someone first shift or anything like that, but if you're out there and you're flying, and you're making smart plays, and it's very clear early on that, like, okay, Draisaitl's dialed in, I think it does kind of bring the rest of the team back into the fight with you.
Yep, I think it absolutely does. And the man we've already been talking about just a bit here, it's Evander Kane. Evander Kane, he made some noise with his intermission comments there about ice time and Jay Woodcroft. If I'm Jay Woodcroft personally, I'm saying, okay, buddy, I hear you loud and clear.
Yep.
What do you need from me? How do you need to make that happen? And it sounds like that's top line minutes. That's power play one time. Looks like Evander has been given both of those opportunities.
Yeah, he's going to take Connor McDavid's spot on the top power play unit. They were practicing the other day with him kind of in that bumper spot. And if Connor McDavid wasn't hurt, I really wonder how Jay Woodcroft would be handling this. Because if I was a head coach and I heard a player say that during a game, like during an intermission, I would probably be a little irked. But
I'd sit your ass down the whole period.
I probably would too. But Jay Woodcroft, like we said, doesn't really have that option anymore. He can't shoot that bullet. You can't staple Evander Kane to the fourth line because his upside is greater than Ernie, Ryan, or Janmark. So you need to play him on the top line. You need to get something out of him. So I think Jay Woodcroft's approach here has to be, he's been forced into this, is to give Evander Kane minutes and hope he snaps out of this little mini slump he's in.
Just catching up with the chat here. I see a couple guys here also love Brett Kulak. QF Pro said Kulak goal tonight. Rusty, I'd take a Kulak goal tonight. March, Kulak showed up to play last game. Hopefully he can keep it going for BORDZY.
Yeah.
You know what? It's not in the bets later, but I'm going to be riding with a Brett Kulak goal tonight. I'm sure those odds are very juiced. We did notice last game he took an absolute rocket of a clap bomb. I mean, it went incredibly wide of the net, but I love seeing that my boy step up in the play.
Oh, but with the new NHL's new stats website, you could go find out if that's Brett Kulak's hardest shot of the year, Aaron.
Nice.
I might get on that. I'll
Nice.
let you know how hard Brett Kulak shot a puck this
There we
year.
go. People here saying, hey, smash the like button. We said as well. So on Oilers Nation every day, until Connor McDavid comes back, our like goal is going to be 97 every single show to try and make this happen. He can heal faster with the more love we give him. So be sure to hit that like button, and we would appreciate it very much. The Canernator said #1 fan. Haven't heard that one yet.
That shot from Brett Kulak was officially clocked by the NHL at 94.2 miles per hour. The only time this year Brett Kulak has had a shot go above 90 miles an hour.
There you have it. That's my guy. That's my guy right there. So we said Evander Kane has been upgraded to the top power play. I feel like Jay Woodcroft's hands have been tied. But a question in here, I saw somebody earlier. Is there any other option that you would have upgraded to that top line spot?
I think the real obvious answer is Dylan Holloway.
Yeah, that's the only other one I can
That's
think
what
of.
everyone's looking at. If you're going to try catch lightning in a bottle for a few days and get some offense, Holloway gives you a better chance to do that than Janmark. You could flip Evander Kane over to the right side, move Hollywood up to the left side of the top line. Then you're running a third line. That's Brown, McLeod, and Janmark. And okay, then you start to see like, okay, that's really ugly.
You're
and
right.
like you don't trust Ryan McLeod to drag him around. So I think Hollywood is the easy, quick answer, but I'm not totally sure if it's what I would have done. I'll be honest with you. The answer's on the farm team. The answer's in Bakersfield. The answer's Raphael Lavoie. An injury in your top six, go call up your best offensive prospect, the best offensive player in the minors. So far, apparently, he's looked really good down in Bakersfield. Man amongst boys is one of the reports I heard early on from his first couple of games or from his first game. I
Would
think this
we
is
be
when you
able to
do
call
it.
him up? What's the logistics?
You just got to
with that?
send down Ernie.
Yeah,
and like,
so that's
obviously
fine.
no one's claiming Adam Ernie. And then
What?
doesn't your lineup look a lot better? Pack, we maybe throw up the lines just so I have the visual and don't marble mouth this. But you go Draisaitl, Kane, Lavoie. And then you have the new Hyman Fogle. You have McLeod, Brown, Holloway. Perfect. And then your extra forwards are just Derek Ryan and Matthias Janmark, which is what you like when you go 11-7. So I would have made a call up, but I'm not the GM, obviously.
Exactly. That's why we run a YouTube channel, and Ken Holland runs a hockey team. Just seeing people in here. Everybody's on the Brett Kulak train tonight. Let's go, baby. Lance said Tyler hyping up Lavoie. I knew what he meant. I knew what he meant. Continuing through here, I feel like every time we talk about the D pairings on this show, I bring up how Evan Bouchard needs to play better. That's not going to change again today, people. That's the theme. We need to see, I guess I don't want to use the term bounce backs. Just I need to see last year's Evan Bouchard back again. Tyler, where's your confidence level with the Bouch man? There it is, folks.
Yeah. Okay, but I would say it's getting a little bit better.
Yeah,
I
for
want
me
to
it
say,
is.
like, I think game by game, he's improved a little bit here. Doesn't excuse the sloppy start to the season for Bouchard at all, but I thought against Winnipeg, he was fine. He hammered home that goal. I thought there were a lot less mistakes in his game. Him and Ekholm played a decent run of hockey. Like, I didn't have a problem with it. And the goal obviously builds you up some goodwill, but I still want to see more from Bouchard because this year, just him coming in and being what he was last year kind of isn't enough for me. Like, I really want to see Evan Bouchard take a step forward. I want to see him go, all right, or I want to be able to sit back after watching him and go, I trust this guy. Top four, no matter what. I trust him in his own end. The obvious gaffes are gone. And on top of that, elite offensive producer. And then we could be talking about a guy who's going to make $8-9 million a year one day. Evan Bouchard, we've seen through 5 games, 15 periods. That's not a guy.
That's not that guy.
That's not an $8 or $9 million defenseman.
Nope.
Right? Like that's a guy who you're probably keeping at $4 million because he's nothing but a power play specialist. So that's the thing for Bouchard. I know I don't want people to run with this comparison or anything, but like you need to show here this season. Are you going to be Tyson Barrie, a one-dimensional offensive puck mover? That's all you're ever going to be. Or are you going to take a step forward and be more of a Zach Werenski? Or he'll never be Miro Heiskanen. He's never winning a Norris, but a Zach Werenski, Seth Jones in his prime kind of thing. I know Jones is kind of falling out of favor with a lot of people, but are you more of that build?
Yeah, I agree. That's a very good point. I also think, oh, nice. Thank you. Get that back up next to your face. Get those two handsome faces right there, people. But for me, it's kind of, you just pointed out that you'll have the confidence in Evan Bouchard, which right now, I'll be honest with you, I'm just filled with anxiety pretty much every time he has the puck. whether it's in our end, whether he's trying to walk the blue line, keep a puck in. It just hasn't really been the start that we've been looking for. I see some people in here agreeing with me. A lot of guys talking about they want to watch Free Agent Frenzy. Lance, DM me on Instagram. I'll send you a link. There you go. I can hook that up at 7 p.m. I got to be focused right now, though. But Darnell Nurse, always the other topic of conversation. Me personally, I think Darnell Nurse has been more than fine this season. It's hard to pick, but I'm like, has he been my most consistent defenseman? Who would you say has been your most consistent defenseman for the Oilers this year? Let me know in the chat, too, what you think.
It's Nurse. I don't know who else you'd pick. Like Brett Kulak's been
that would be my other one, but he hasn't been as good.
The playing fields or the comparison's not level there. Darnell Nurse has been their best defenseman so far this season. And again, I did this whole rant the other day, and I know it kind of made the rounds online, and I had people calling me an idiot and like whatever. You're not paying attention if that's going to be your stance. If your stance is like, and I love on the Facebook, shout out to Ralph, who's watching from Nova Scotia, says he's a Nurse fan. He doesn't get the Nurse hate. I get it because I see the things in his game that other people see. I'm not totally blind to those. But what that side of the fan base is blind to are the good things he does. This dude handles shit minutes. It's hard to play the position and play that spot in the roster. You have to go up against the other team's best a ton. You need to play 25 plus minutes a night a lot. Darnell Nurse does that. And does he make one mistake a game? Yes. Go watch a Tampa Bay Lightning game. Victor Hedman will make mistakes. I'm not saying Darnell Nurse is Victor Hedman.
He's human.
He's human, and he gets asked to do a lot, and he's been asked to do a lot over the last few years. I just think the fan base loves to pile on him right now. I don't understand it.
We love a whipping boy.
Yeah, and someone in here, March, says, I think Cece's been consistently mid. Yes, that's the other side of it. Darnell Nurse doesn't get to play with a Mikhail Sergachev. Darnell Nurse doesn't get to play with a Devin Taves. Darnell Nurse plays with Cody Cece, who's a third-pairing defenseman, and Darnell Nurse has to go up against the other team's best players paired with Cody Cece all the time. Like, sometimes it's just beating your head against a wall, having to listen to this garbage because it's not true. Does he have bad games? Yes. No one's saying that he is a perfect Norris winning defenseman. And I get that the contract isn't what you want it to be. But
get over it.
This blue line is dog shit without Darnell Nurse.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe we can have this conversation here right now. So I was getting into this with my buddies the other day, and it's the classic with Darnell Nurse to 9.25. I know how much money he makes. And it's that everybody always says to me, they're like, well, you could have two defensemen for the price of Darnell Nurse, and you could do that, blah, blah, blah. I go, where? What team right now in reality, not some fantasy world on Twitter, out whatever your head's in the clouds, tell me a team right now that's going to give up 2 $4.5 million defensemen straight up for Darnell Nurse. Take all the time you need because that's not going to happen.
Well, also go look at the guys who have signed recently for $4 million. Like, there's not a laundry list of high-end defensemen signing for $4.5 million. Like, Eric Goodbranson signed for that. Eric Goodbranson would be the worst defenseman on the Oilers. I absolutely do not. Would you rather have 2 Cody Cece's or 1 Darnell Nurse, right? Like, it just, again, it's people who just don't quite get it, who just want to yell for the sake of yelling and think it's cool to hate on Darnell Nurse. And he's not, it's just tired. It's a lazy and tired narrative that people run with. I'm trying to go find the defensemen in the league who make in that range. Like, guys who you're going to be able to get on the UFA market, like Michael Matheson. Like, again, you don't want 2 Michael Matheson.
Yeah, you're going to have to get 2 of these.
You can point to some really good value deals, but like, again, for the most part, John Klingberg is a guy who signed for $4.1 million this year. Like, you don't want 2 John Klingbergs. Like, the grass is always greener with people. I just wish we could pump it on the Nurse stuff.
I love it. Lance said Bordsy keeping his friends in line.
Yep.
That's right, baby. You got to shut it down where you can. I see a great one in here from Rusty. And I think this guy has been an awesome addition to the Jason Greger show. But it's Terry Ryan. I don't know if you've ever listened to Chicklets. Yeah. That guy is quite a beauty. But I saw a clip. He was breaking it down saying that he loves where Darnell Nurse's game is at. And that Rusty says here, I love Terry Ryan on Greger's show when he said the Nurse has all the tools to be like a Pronger. Yeah, he has all the tools. I don't really expect him to be, but Terry Ryan had Darnell's back. So do we. So, Terry, you're welcome on this show anytime you want to be. But in closing for me, I think the Oilers' problem, which has been their main weakness, really for the last few seasons, they give up the easiest goals to the opposition sometimes. It crushed them early last season.
Crush
and
them in the playoffs.
again this season. Unforced errors, major gaffes,
Yeah.
noticeably putrid turnovers in your own end, losing battles too easily have cost the Oilers. So let's hope tonight this is where the buck stops. Just looking in the chat here of a couple more people so we can close the book on the Edmonton Oilers lineup. CC has been better this year than he was last year. Sorry, what's Chicklets? I only know better late than never.
Much better
Nice,
podcast.
nice. It is a way better. Yeah, no, don't listen.
Don't get
to
it twisted.
Don't listen to Chicklets. I said we got Terry Ryan on Gregor now. That's all you needed to go there for. Spitting Chicklets is a pretty good pod. Rusty, Oilers Nation every day is an even better one. But let's maybe change gears here a little bit. Nice, just stare at the camera. For our starting goaltenders tonight. Starting goaltenders are brought to you by, can you see it on the screen? Montorio Homes. At Montorio Homes, you can build your dream home your way without breaking the bank. Work with a reputable and accredited home builder who believes your dream home should be affordable without compromising on quality or personalization. Right now, you can visit any one of Montorio Homes show homes and enter your name to win 4 premium Edmonton hockey tickets. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Visit Montorio Homes today at montorio.ca.
Not talking tickets to my beer league games either. It's good hockey.
And let's start building the home you've always envisioned. All right, Pat, can you bring it up for me here? The goaltending matchup tonight, it's going to be a little bit of soup in the net. He's played 3 games. He has 1 win. The goals against, 3.65. You'd like to see that number a little bit lower, but a .902 save percentage. And Tyler, I was saying it to you before the show. All I want for my Edmonton Oilers goaltenders is that first number to be a 9. And I'm pretty happy as is. Hey, I would like better. I'd like more. But I'm a realist. I'll take that all day. What have you thought of Jack Campbell so far?
The top number's a 9 with soup. We're not going to complain.
Yeah.
Goals against average, yeah, you'd obviously love to see that drop, but I think that's always a number. I always see goals against average as a lot more of a team stat than just a pure goalie stat, because we all remember the first game against Vancouver. Soup wasn't hung out to dry on any of those. We also then all remember the game against Nashville, where he was absolutely electric in that one. You combine those 2 games, your goals against average, and I mean, I know he had the third one that wasn't great. Like, that's why his goals against average is high. Soup's been fine this year. Stole them a game, but they do need to see a little bit more consistency from him. You know?
Yep.
Stop the shots you're supposed to. He still had that one against Philly. That was the shorthanded goal that really sucked the wind out of their sails a little bit. So a little more consistency from Soup would be good, but he's shown this year he has the ability to steal games, and maybe tonight's one of those nights.
Yep, and as we all remember, Stuart Skinner played the last game. I'm sure we can't all forget the image in our head of Stuart coming out to play that puck. Well, he didn't play it, actually. So
he tried to,
or he thought about it at least. So it only does kind of make sense. I've said it before. For me, I'm going to flip-flop back and forth with these goalies until one puts a run together of 3 or 4 games. Does something like that, you're kind of forcing Jay Woodcroft's hand, in my opinion.
Yeah, and one of these goalies needs to grab the bull by the horns a little bit and want to take this job, force his hand a bit, like you said. That hasn't happened yet.
No, it has
Jack
not.
played good ones, and he was subpar the next night. So you go back to Stu. He was subpar. You're back to Jack. If he's great tonight, guess what? You're starting him Thursday against the Rangers.
Yep. And
although I will say, I do kind of want to see Stu get the start in the Heritage Classic.
Yeah, I do too. Do you see his pads?
That Grand Fear equipment is just so damn cool.
The fact that he made those. Hey, there they are. The fact that he got those, right? That would tell me that he thinks he's going to be playing in it. Or somebody's got to let me know. Does Jack have pads too?
No one's posting about Soup setup. So
there you have it. Breaking news.
I mean, you got to give the local guy the start at Heritage Classic.
I don't know. It'd feel like such a travesty to not do it. But as I said before, apparently Jack Campbell never beat the Minnesota Wild before with an 0-3-1 record. So what better time than tonight on Frozen Frenzy? Wow. Bum, bum, bum.
The goalie on the other side.
Yeah, I was getting into that.
I'm intrigued by Philip Gustafson, man. First off, absolute masterclass by Bill Guerin to go get this guy for Cam Talbot, because Gustafson very well may have Vezina one day. His career numbers: 63 games started, 69 appearances, 919 save percentage, a 257 goals against average. This dude is really, really good. So far this season, a little bit of a roller coaster. He got things going with a 41 save shutout over the Florida Panthers, then gave up 7 goals to the Leafs, then gave up 5 goals to the Blue Jackets, but faced 54 shots in the process. They absolutely shelled him. He's taken over the starter's job. Marc-Andre Fleury is no longer the starting goalie of the Minnesota Wild. Philip Gustafson is the 1A. They believe in this guy. They gave him a good contract over the summer. I think he's making more now than Stuart Skinner is on his second deal. They really believe in Philip Gustafson. When he's on, like he was in the season opener, he's one of the best goalies in the league. He's at that level. He's also never played the Edmonton Oilers, though.
Let's go. Let's get him an offer, just like Jackie Boy over there. But as you said, Gustafson started the season with a 41 save shutout against Florida. And then the next game, he allowed 7 goals on 33 shots.
That's kind of been a thing with the Wild is like, and we earlier today on Oilers Nation Every Day, we were joined by Seth Topol from Locked On Wild, does a daily podcast on Minnesota. They've just been a roller coaster in general, man. Like the turnovers are really bad. They really, really miss Jared Spurgeon on this team. And when you go look at even just their 5-on-5 numbers, like that first game they won against Florida, they got outshot 20-11 at 5-on-5. They only put up 15 shots on goal in a game against the Montreal Canadiens. They went out and got outshot 36-21 at 5-on-5 by the Columbus Blue Jackets. Like they've, in a way, excuse my language, kind of gotten their shit ran by a couple of subpar teams so far this year.
Yep, couldn't agree more. I'm seeing here, just looking through the chat, people are talking goalies. People want Stu to be in the net for the Heritage Classic. Some strangers said soup is solid, not liquid. That made me laugh.
There you go.
One thing with the Minnesota Wild, it looks like they're giving up a ton of shots every game. Florida put up 41. Columbus, I believe, put up 54. So I'm feeling confident on the over for the Oilers shots. We'll get into that in just a minute. But my final question for the goaltending, Tyler, I presented this one to you before. Do the Minnesota Wild have the best goaltender duo in the NHL with Philip Gustafson and Marc-Andre Fleury? Or who would be better?
In the NHL, I think
Let me know in the chat.
I think it's Boston with Allmark and Swayman. Allmark won the Vezina last year. Swayman's a really good young up-and-coming goalie. The tough part about duos, and like my thing with this, and this is where Liam and I kind of got into a debate today at the office. He goes Winnipeg, Connor Hellebuck. And I get that because Laurent Brossoit is a bona fide 1B. Hellebuck's like a legit 1A. I can get that. Some people just automatically go, well, like the Rangers, Shesterkin and Quick. Okay, Shesterkin, elite, Quick, garbage. So how do you rate that as a duo, right? Because yeah, if it's a one-game thing, Shesterkin's better than almost anyone in the league. I really think the Islanders are good. I think Varlamov's a good backup. Sorokin is obviously an absolute stud, and Vegas is the other one that I think is really, really good. Logan Thompson and Aiden Hill, both very capable starters.
Yeah, and I don't think we would have said that 365 days ago because I didn't even know who Aiden Hill was. I see Rusty in here said Boston's better, Oilers are better, Islanders are better. March said the Wild probably the best duo in the Central Division. Yep, that's right. Yeah, I don't think they are the best duo. I think it's Boston, but it was a question I saw earlier today on the internet, so we had to take a peek. Okay, we got to go quick here with the Minnesota Wild lineup.
This show is flying by.
This time just flies by when you're in the captain's chair. So pull it up for me here. It is presented by Greta Bar Yeg. We love Greta, as we teased just a bit ago. There's going to be some things going down at Greta on Sunday.
Thanks.
It's going to be packed. It's going to be a great vibe. Dude, a 5 p.m. start too Sunday. So you can get a couple beers and you can watch football leading right up to that.
I might just park myself at Greta like
at 11 a.m.
They open at 11 a.m. I'm in.
Why not? Get to watch all the games. Get real Red Zone going. Get a nice buzz going. Get fed. They got the best food. They got the best drinks. And there might even be a ride going to Commonwealth Stadium from there. But okay, let's get into it nice and quick here. The Minnesota Wild lineup. On the top line, it's Kirill Kaprizov with Ryan Hartman and Mads Zuccarello, who today said he was the Prince of Norway. Was that?
That's what Jay calls him. Yeah, that's kind of his thing, Prince of Norway.
Second line of Marcus Johansson with Joel Eriksson Ek, and the big rig is back in town, people. Patrick Maroon. The third line of Marcus Foligno, Marco Rossi, Frederick Gaudreau, then Brandon Duhaime, Connor Dewar, Vinny Lettieri. I probably butchered those names.
Vinny Lettieri.
I
think you got all of them right, actually. Connor Dewar, Brandon Duhaime.
Nice.
Brandon Duhaime's got a couple shorthanded goals on the year. It's an interesting forward group, Minnesota. They don't get outworked all that often. And that's kind of their identity here. With Matt Boldy out, I think they're also trying to grind through that. Marco Rossi is a fascinating name for me. A guy who was an early first-round pick, struggled with long COVID for a really long time. Basically had to take a year off playing hockey, more or less.
Brutal.
But he's back, playing really good, apparently. And the other big story, obviously, is Patrick Maroon.
Yeah, he's back. Hope he gets a nice cheer Wait, not a cheer. Sorry, stick taps. I meant stick taps. I meant like,
But remember,
that.
so the last 2 times the Oilers have gone up against Maroon,
It didn't go great.
he was the one who gave Evander Kane that injury. Obviously an accident, nothing he meant to do. But then remember that game, their next meeting at Rogers, he kind of slew-footed McDavid, got jumped, started a brawl. Like, he was kind of a rat. I really didn't like it. I thought I had some words to say on the show the next day about how, hey, Pat Maroon, you shouldn't sloof at the guy who's the only reason you're still in the league. But yeah, I mean, Patrick Moon, whatever. Apparently him and McDavid are all good, so maybe I shouldn't be mad at him. But a little former friend in the lineup. That's
right. Joel Eriksson-Ek has been an absolute stud for the Minnesota Wild so far this season. He's been a crazy bargain. I believe he makes $5.2 million a year. I feel like he's taking another step in his career that once again might be because of necessity with no Boldy, but we'll see how that goes. 4 goals, 3 assists in 5 games played. Kirill Kaprizov, that man is an absolute stud as well. There you see the numbers on your screen for Joel Eriksson-Ek. But the defense for the Minnesota Wild, Tyler, you probably know it's a little bit better than I do. It's Jonas Brodin, Kalen Addison, Jacob Middleton, Brock Faber, Dakota Mermis, John Merrill. And the Wild, really, there's 3 defenders dressed tonight with limited NHL experience, and there's 1 in each of the pairings.
Yeah, that's going to be something the Oilers are obviously going to have to try and expose here on this Wild team. Brock Faber, very, very young. Kalen Addison, only in his 2nd year in the league. Dakota Mermis, I literally never heard of the guy before today, so there's no way he's been in the NHL for that long. Like, John Merrill is not a great defenseman. Jacob Middleton is a very average defensive defenseman. Like, this blue line leaves Wild fans wanting a little bit more. Like I said off the jump, they really, really, really missed Jared Spurgeon. That's going to be something that hopefully works in the Oilers' favor tonight, is that this blue line is not as good as it kind of once was in Mini. I also just wanted to quickly pick up on your thoughts on their forward group. Like, when you have $14 million in dead cap space as a GM, when you take that plunge, reset the culture, buy out Suter, buy out Parise, you need to find value deals. Their top 2 centers are very damn good. I love Ryan Hartman. I love Joel Eriksson-Ek. This year, they make a combined $6.95 million.
That's unreal.
That's remarkable value.
That is unreal. That's the stuff you need. And we said it before, Bill Guerin, I don't envy that guy. He's been handed quite the tough job with $14 million dead cap space, add a couple injuries in there. And boy, does this guy have a hard job. But as much as I love a former Oiler, I don't pity you tonight. So whatever. We can get over that. That leads me into, but yeah, we still got 10 minutes here, right? Yeah, we got plenty of time. Catching up in the chat. I see the one, the only Connor Howley is in the chat. He's one of our biggest supporters. He's been tweeting the show all the time. I'm going to make sure to bring him on After Dark this season.
Hey, that's a great idea. We should get Conman on After Dark.
I've already been texting him. He said he'd be down to get on there whenever we can, maybe on a lighter night or maybe an earlier one. I don't want to keep him up really late. I'm pretty sure.
He's a night owl.
Yeah, he is a night owl. Connor will do anything. He's such a beauty. He's such a genuinely nice dude. We love him, but okay. It's everybody's favorite time. It's time for the Betway Bets of the Evening, presented by Betway 19+. Please play responsibly. So, Patty, can you throw up some stats for me right now? And that will lead me into what we're thinking this evening. So, Minnesota has allowed an average of 36.6 shots on goal per game, 30th in the NHL. The Oilers are averaging 32 shots on goal per 60. Bouchard is leading the Edmonton Oilers in shots with 19 of them. Evan Bouchard also averages just under 40 games this season. Leon Draisaitl has 49 points in 49 games without Connor McDavid in the lineup. Damn, that's a pretty good stat right there. Draisaitl is also averaging 2 points per game this season, and Leon has had 2+ points in the last 3 games versus the Wild. So we're just going to keep playing around here. Gavin, you have joined me now.
I have.
There you are.
I have.
Which one of these stats right now? You're the one who prepares these for us. You get these all going. You are a numbers guy. Which one of these right now
Big stats guy.
is kind of jumping out to you the most?
Probably the Draisaitl one. The Draisaitl one, he has shown on countless times, obviously the 49 games is a large sample size, right? It's not just 10 games here. We're talking about 49 games, and he's a point per guy. He's a point per game guy when Connor McDavid's not in the lineup. So I love the Draisaitl one, and we're going to flash up our bets here in a second, but I love Draisaitl tonight. I think he's going to have a huge day for the Edmonton Oilers.
Yep, I do too. And you might be able to lean where these bets are going to be centered. Patrick, would we be able to throw those up full screen right now, or are you a little busy behind the scenes?
Yeah, we got it.
There you go. So perfect. As everybody knows in the YouTube chat, Pat, you're going to throw in a poll right now.
Mhm.
And the way Bordzy's bankroll works is we present you 3 bets. We're going to vote on them as a family, as a squad, as a unit in the chat. Then whichever one is the leader, well, I'm going to be throwing down, at least myself will be throwing down on it. And I know Gavin will be. I hope a couple of you in the chat will be. So the options are going to be Evan Bouchard over 2.5 shots on goal. Second option of Oilers to have 31 plus shots on goal. And C, Leon Draisaitl, the man who should be carrying the load tonight. Leon Draisaitl over 1.5 points. Patty, would you be able to throw up a YouTube poll for us? Thank you very much.
It's up.
And I
It's
just want you
posting
to
right
know,
now.
Tyler, he's a man of so many different skills. That whole time that was up on the screen, my boy was trying to help behind the scenes with a little bit of technical stuff. And look at that. We got Gavin on the screen too. Gav, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Absolutely fantastic. I'm ready to get back on track this week. Let's start up the week strong, boys.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's do it.
We got 3 games this week. We got to
Yep.
make these people some money. Pat, do you think you could throw it up side by side with us? And I want to ask Tyler, which one of these 3
Yes.
bets that you like this evening?
Let's take a peek. I actually think they might have lost our audio here, but we'll sort that out. Anyways, we'll keep rolling. The 3 bets here. Let's take a peek at them. Bouchard over 2.5, Draisaitl over 1.5. So Draisaitl, we talked about 9 points in 9 games against the Minnesota Wild. That one is tempting. Everything is just turning off for us today. Oilers have 31 plus shots on goal. I think I actually kind of like that one because I like the sweat you kind of get along with sitting back and like being like, okay, they're on pace. They're not on pace.
We had that when we went to a game last
Yeah.
year too, right in the dying seconds. So I like the sweat in that bet as well.
Yeah, the 31 shots. As we said, Minnesota is allowing an average of 36 shots per game. That's 30th in the NHL, which is not last anymore. Now that there's some extra teams. And the Edmonton Oilers are averaging 32 shots on goal per 60. I think I like that one. I also like Leon over 1.5 points.
I'm probably leaning to the dry one myself because, like I just said, it's a large sample size. Without McDavid in the lineup, point per game guy, I think he gets 2 tonight.
I just don't know if I trust the Oilers to score.
That sounds so bad.
I'm just like, man, a game in Minnesota, like there's going to be no vibes in this hockey game at all. I just don't know if I trust them to score.
Yeah, we apologize if there was any audio difficulties right there.
Good.
We're good now.
Hey,
That's all that matters.
We're live on YouTube, baby. You get what you pay for. And we are free. Patrick, is there anything that jumps out to you tonight? Whether it's on here, maybe it's not. I know a couple people in here. I think we're riding.
I think we got to ride
I think we're gonna ride with Brett Kulak.
We might be just audio only. We're having some major camera malfunctions
Hey,
today.
don't
It
worry.
just went away and it's back.
Oh no, my ugly face.
Hello.
Pat, what do you like tonight?
Honestly, I think the idea tonight is going to be shot. So I do kind of
sure.
like 31 plus. But you know, at the same time, with Connor out of the power play, I'm thinking Bouchard's going to be shooting. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking 2.5
Totally.
shots on goal will be good for Bouchard as well.
And he's hit that shot prop in 3 to 5 games this year, so could be a safe bet.
My bet today on Oilers Nation Every Day was Hyman over 3.5 because I think kind of similar.
Yeah.
I think that second line is going to obviously have to play a ton tonight for the Oilers. And if the
they'll
Oilers
be out
do
there
get
quite a
power
bit.
plays, Connor's not out there. Someone else has got to do the shooting.
Now that's one of Tyler's bets because he also gave out a 16-team parlay as well.
I
tonight.
also
Is
made a
that still
16-team
live, Ty?
parlay.
Oh, I mean, come on. If you didn't do it today,
Ottawa screwed me, though.
Well, yeah,
Ottawa's
I
down
did-
like 5-1, so I'm already out.
So my 16 legger for I shared it on Daily Faceoff Live today. I had the Leafs to win. They took
And you
care
have some
of
over-unders in there as well,
yeah, I
right?
had the Sabres to beat the Sens as dogs.
Oh.
They took care of that.
Oh,
as
yeah,
well.
they did
So
win business.
yeah, that was a
It's cash out time, buddy.
I should be going to check it because it was $5
Yeah.
into like 80 grand. So if
Yeah,
they're offering
something
me any sort
crazy
of
like
cash
that.
out.
That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
we love it.
Just
We love
looking
it.
at the YouTube poll right now, which
Yeah,
bet,
where are we
bet
sitting?
are you taking? 54%
Oh, wow.
of the
I think that
chat
might be our largest
is going with
ever.
Oilers over 31 shots. Yeah, Gavin, I actually do think that is
Yeah, that
probably
is.
our biggest
I like it.
discrepancy.
I like it. We have that sweat for the entire game, so let's ride.
Why not?
Let's ride.
That is a fun one that you can be alive till the
100%.
very last minute.
I
You're
also
right.
seen on Betway you can bet on who's going to win the first face off of the game. Imagine that sweat.
See,
right at the start.
When I watch a
It's a coin
football
flip.
game, like for example, let's say if it's a primetime game,
Yeah.
I can't really do it during the Sunday 1 o'clock slate or the 2 or 11 o'clock
Yeah,
slate. Whoa,
for
look
sure.
at me talking like an Eastern boy over there. But it's how you can. I tend to do an anytime touchdown score, but I also do the first touchdown
So
score,
do I.
so that the
Every
first
single
drive
time.
is such a, or like the coin
Every
toss.
single time.
You're like, come on, buddy, come on, buddy.
We want the ball. Let's go.
And then you go, man, hey, Matt Hasselbeck, we get the ball. We're going to score. Immediately
And
throws a pick six.
I love
That's an
that clip.
all-time
I love
quote.
that.
But I don't know. First face-off could be kind of electric.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might sprinkle on that. Shout out to our friends at Betway.
Bet
Waz is
responsibly.
in. Waz says he's taking Holloway anytime goal score plus.
I think he's
450.
bet Holloway in every single game this season,
he's
so
due.
it's
Yeah.
due. And the one time Waz is not going to bet it, he'll score.
Is Waz here tonight?
No, actually.
I don't think he's out there.
Oh yeah,
Right.
this will
Waz,
be
let
the
me know.
first
Are
of his
you
own
here
at Nation HQ.
There you go.
For a game.
That's good vibes then. Waz was
Big Oilers W coming out, confirmed.
No TikTok lives tonight, everybody.
That's right.
We've been doing it every intermission. If you don't follow Oilers Nation on TikTok, you should. There's a little bit.
Yeah,
of,
we have some fun.
There's
In
a
it.
little bit of extra content there. We tend to have some fun out
We
there.
have some fun. We have some fun for sure.
Every intermission report I think we've done, Waz has said something that
That
every
I
one
had
of
to
us
take over. I'm like, Waz, and
is
that's
just like, what did you
what did he
just
say?
He said at one point that he sleeps in a cage, so we'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
and that wasn't even the
and
worst.
then we then the
It
TikTok
wasn't even the
live.
worst thing he said, too. I think we can end
Use
the
your
poll
imagination, I guess.
here now, Patrick. I'm riding with Oilers over 31 shots. And the funny part is, Tyler, is I've been realizing this. I got to get these in like right now when this gets going.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause I gotta-
log, yeah.
Multitasking at its finest.
Yeah, plus money. I love it.
I guess, Gavin, now that I got you here, you got any extra Sherwood Ford Giant storylines for this evening? Just how the boys respond without Connor McDavid or anything else for you?
Obviously, I think you guys kind of mentioned too. We just gotta get off to a quick start. Quick start and get the juices flowing. I hope Evander Kane gets going too, throwing the body around, get Kane involved early. So yeah, let's start the week off strong. Let's start off with a dub.
Dude, there's nothing better than opening up your Betway account and there's way more money in there
It's
than
the
you
best.
remember getting in
Best
there.
feeling.
I don't even know what I hit, but I hit something, that's for sure.
Yeah, because yesterday I hit
Responsible 19 plus.
Jordan Addison first touchdown score
Ooh,
yesterday.
that's a juicy
Yeah, Monday
one.
night.
I said it yesterday on the show,
Loved
Tyler. I was taking Jordan Anderson over everything.
You went
Catches,
off, man.
cash, yards, cash,
he was so
touchdowns,
good.
cashed.
And he got hurt and came back and still was an absolute dog.
He had already cashed for me by the time he got hurt. So
Yeah.
part of me was like, no, stay out, man. Stay out, stay out. Don't lose 6 yards or something like
Man,
that.
and once JJ gets back, that offense will be flying. And they might be sneaky going forward, the Minnesota Vikings. So
You know, speaking of that, I also saw who did the Eagles play on Sunday night, the Dolphins.
Yep.
And Jalen Hurts knelt out the last couple plays. And whatever his rushing line was
Oh,
at,
yeah,
Under.
it's like you have -3 rushing yards every
it
time he
took
takes an
it
aim.
under. And one of my buddies
That's
did not
actually
cash.
devastating.
And he was saying some things. He was saying some things about Jalen Hurts. Hey,
Oh, man.
that's my fantasy quarterback. Tyler, that's my quarterback.
That's my
That's my quarterback.
Yeah, man, that's T.O.
Hey, that's your wide receiver
yeah,
right
that's
there.
why I became a Cowboys fan.
Well, let me know
unfortunately.
in the chat here any final things, any bets you like. Genesis said Kane needs a Gordie Howe Hattie.
Ooh,
That
Kane needs-
you
would
can actually
be
bet that on
absolutely
Betway as
electric.
well. A player to get a Gordie Howe hat trick. So
Waz said sometimes you open it and you see more than you expected. Lance said it's tough when it's less than you remember. Yeah,
that too.
that does
We've
happen
all
a bit.
been there as well.
Tyler, today we were talking about the shame reload that you have to
Yeah.
do from
Yep.
time to time.
Ah, okay.
Always
yeah,
stinks.
yeah.
You just kind of block it from your memory. I'm also a guy that like once I lose my bet, I completely forget about that one. Leave it in the past. It's like
Burn the
there will
tape.
be
Yep.
other bets in the future. Okay, if it wasn't meant to be, you let it go.
We always
If
remember
it's
the
meant
wins.
to be, it'll come back. They'll correct it on Betway.
Love
Yep. So I guess here we got a minute before it hits the hour. I want to give a final shout out to all of our lovely sponsors: Sherwood Ford, the Giant, Greta, which you see on your screen, Montorio Homes, and of course Betway. 19 plus. Please play responsibly. Be sure to get your bets in right now. You still got another minute. I love and appreciate every one of you in here. And if you want some more Oilers Nation content after the game, I'll
We'll
be
be
back.
back.
I'll be back in this chair, joined by Oilers Nation writer Zach
Oh,
Laing.
yeah, Zach.
And he's actually gonna be staying with us and watching the
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
game here
he will
in the
be.
studio. I think me and him and both are about to go downstairs to the bar and order our dinner. Oh, I should start making polls for what I should order for dinner. I can't make any decision on my own. I need you guys. So with that, I want to say thank you, and we will catch you on the flip side right after the game. Good luck, everybody, and good luck to the Edmonton Oilers.
Enjoy the game, guys.